Saw this one coming a mile away. What's going on, everybody? Big Ten Ted coming at you here today for this game recap. Michigan State, the number 3 team in the initial college football playoff rankings, fall on the road in West Lafayette to Purdue. Now, this one, if you looked at the matchup, if you watched the preview that I put out earlier in the week, you saw the matchup differential, right? Michigan State gave up a lot in terms of the passing offense. Purdue had the potential to put up a big day in the passing game, and that's exactly what happened. The main goal for Michigan State, the one thing they had to do was slow down David Bell, and, well, David Bell sped up. Another 200-yard day, just like he had against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, what does this mean? That's what I like to do in these reaction videos. Everybody can tell you stats, how the game went. We all saw it, but I want to tell you what it means, what happens next, kind of a thing. When I look at it for Purdue, now they don't have head-to-head losses against Minnesota and Wisconsin, so they're going to need some help to get to Indianapolis to get to the Big Ten championship game. Not saying it's out of the question, but definitely going to need some help right now. But this is a Purdue team that they can sling it. And Jeff Brom, if you look at his resume, you look at his record throughout his time at Purdue, I mean, upsets. They're the spoiler makers, no doubt about it. Right now, if you're a ranked team, a highly ranked team against Purdue, you ought to be in trouble, and you ought to be pumping the brakes and say, we got to be careful, because this is a Purdue team, right? When Aiden O'Connell can play well, when David Bell can get open, this is a great team, but when Aiden O'Connell turns the ball over, that's when they usually have troubles. But this game was great. Offensive line played outstanding. What does it mean for Purdue? I think it means a lot of people, right, as we consider it, we get more head coaching jobs open. I'm not saying he's going to bolt, but I'm saying a lot of people might start looking at Jeff Brom. And you look at the body of work and what he's done at a place like Purdue and the type of talent he's developed, especially on offense, guys like Rondale Moore and now David Bell, 2 guys at the receiver position that are really, really good. Some teams might look at Jeff Brom and say, hey, maybe he can do that at my school, a little bit of a bigger step-up type of school to the Purdue Boilermakers. Michigan State, that's where I want to focus on. The big part of this video is on Sparty. Mel Tucker had one job. He had to not let his team get too high, and he had to have them ready to play. And I'm not saying they weren't ready to play. I'm going to get into that, because you look at this game and you look at the box score. Peyton Thorne played well. Kenneth Walker had over 100 yards, and they did everything that they were probably supposed to do. But I said it in the preview, that Michigan State defense right now is turning into a liability. Okay, that defense, you can't play a conference championship winning football. You can't play playoff type football with a defense like that. What they gave up last week against Michigan, what they gave up this week against Purdue. Now, given they had good games this year, but maybe not against the greatest offenses in the world. But Michigan and Purdue just absolutely lit them up the last 2 weeks. Now, they were able to squeak out the win against Michigan, but not so much on the road, of course, at Purdue. I don't think this is going to send Michigan State reeling. I don't think that's what this is going to be. I don't think it's going to be an Iowa situation. I think either they've got Ohio State down the road. They've got Penn State down the road. They still got some stuff in front of them. Okay, they have the head-to-head over Michigan. They still play Ohio State. They can still go to Indy. But this is going to drop them pretty far back in the college football playoff rankings. Not sure if they're going to be able to sneak up back into the top 4 after a loss like this late in the season. That might drop them back a little bit too far. But it's possible that this team could get to Indy, and that would be the worst thing for the Big Ten right now, to be honest with you. We're all concerned. Everybody's concerned about getting into that college football playoff right now, and Ohio State running the table is probably the best case scenario for the Big Ten right now. But kind of getting back to Sparty, that defense was made up of a lot of transfers. And early in the season, they were looking pretty good. Oh, transfers. Mel Tucker did a great job bringing in these guys. But now, as the season wears on, and as they're playing better offensive teams, you can see and you can tell that these guys have not been around for a while. There's not a lot of experienced guys that have been in East Lansing gelling together as a full defensive unit, because, this is a team that's going to give up a lot of yards. They're going to give up some points, and sometimes it might not be pretty. And then you say, well, if this is a defense that gives up a lot of yards, is this an offense that can come back and score enough points? Today, they weren't able to do that. Today, they proved this is not a team that can win a track meet. Okay, Purdue kept on scoring. Purdue's a team that can win a track meet. Their defense is okay. Don't have a running game, but they can throw it around and they can score with teams. But you look at Michigan State. This is a team that their defense is not good. And their offense, it's a balanced offense, but it's not one that can consistently go up and put a 35 or a 40 burger on the scoreboard every single week. And I think that's the imbalance. And I think that's their weakness. This is a Michigan State team that wants to run the ball. You say when Kenneth Walker has big days, that's when Michigan State also has big days. So another top 3 upset by this Purdue team. I tell you, some schools are they better be looking at Jeff Brom. If I'm a school with an opening, maybe not the USCs and the LSUs, but maybe a notch below that, I'm looking at Jeff Brom. I'm looking at a guy. And maybe if I haven't made a coaching change yet, I might say, well, maybe we could go out and get a guy like Jeff Brom. Just saying, just something to keep an eye on. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. How far is Michigan State going to drop? In your opinion, does this put them out of the college football playoff for the rest of the season? I think it does. You think they got a chance to still win the East? That is still in front of Sparty right now. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to Big Ten Ted for Big Ten football content. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.